You pick it, I play it. Hi, it's McFluffy52 here. For this week's Standard Event Saturday, we're going to be playing Azorius Oculus. If you're unfamiliar with standard events, they're located under the Events tab, and their way to earn gems in-game. You pay either 2,500 gold or 375 gems to enter, and you keep playing until you reach 3 losses. Usually it's best to spend gold so you can save your gems to buy the Mastery Pass, and you get wins, or you get rewards according to the number of wins you get. You want to try and hit 3 wins because that's when you get 200 gems in a pack, and a pack is worth 200 gems in the store, so it's 400 gems value, which is slightly more than you would pay to play using gems. And then as you win more, your rewards get even better, so hopefully you can get to the fabled 7 wins with the deck. Now let's quickly go over the deck. Last week I got a request to try out Azorius Oculus, and part of the request was regarding they felt that the Jeskai deck lists were not as good as the Azorius Oculus deck list, as they wanted to see Azorius Oculus in action, and well, their feelings are backed up by the stats, at least for standard to best of 1. I think perhaps Jeskai Oculus maybe is a little bit better for those best of 3 situations, but at least you can see Azorius Oculus, the highest win rate deck. We're going to be playing this deck list. And then the next is another Azorius Oculus deck list with some minor tweaks. For instance, I don't think it's playing Spell Pierce, but it is playing Negate, and difference in bounce spells. But then you can see Jeskai Oculus not super far away, difference of a few percentage points. So let's go ahead and see how we can do in the games. All right, this opening hand seems all right. Opponent goes first. That is good for us because what we can actually do is just not do anything turn 1, and we'll discard to hand size, and then we can put Azorius Oculus onto the battlefield immediately following that, assuming our opponent doesn't have turn 1 duress. But you know, they wouldn't have turn 1 duress, right? I'm gonna stick to my guns and just end step discard Azorius Oculus, or Abhorrent Oculus here, and see how it goes. I will confess I have not actually played Abhorrent Oculus deck before, so this is part of the reasons why I was interested in trying this out, is see how we can do. Cacophony Scamp is very scary. Thankfully we have Spell Pierce, which gives us a little bit of interaction, but we might have to just hold on. Get back our Oculus. 1 blocker is better than none. Put a spell into our graveyard, which can grow the Djinn. We need to not die this turn. Thankfully, Manifold Mouse doesn't interact well with the Scamp because, well, it is not a mouse. But whenever I see Cacophony Scamp or Heartfire Hero, particularly Cacophony Scamp, in a red deck, you know that deck is very serious about doing lots of damage very fast. Because Cacophony Scamp doesn't interact well with Manifold Mouse, and so, you know, definitely a deck that's built a bit more around those types of creatures, which can be quite explosive. But I think the downside of those types of decks is that they can be kind of stifled by interaction, or like well-timed interaction, whereas the kind of standard mouse package is a bit more resilient on top of being aggressive. Okay, opponent goes for a plot here. Not a good sign either. Double strike their mouse. Going in. I would definitely block with the face down card. We have Spell Pierce, which is a good feeling. Alright, I can play out the planes. Or actually, let's play Meticulous Archive and set up our next turn here. I do think we need to put a clock on our opponent here. This gives us a 4-turn clock. Though, 2 spells in hand. How bad? How bad could the Schlacking be? We have Spell Pierce to counter one thing, but the Slick Shot is going to be free. We do get another free creature. We can put Charter Course in the graveyard. Djinn is getting bigger. Then we can cast Djinn next turn. Maybe that is the move. Definitely a bit of an awkward matchup here, just because if the opponent has the right nut draw, we did not draw into much of the interaction that is in this list. Because we have 2 bounce offs, 2 soul partitions, and that's it. Oh, and 2 temporary lockdowns. So this deck maybe a bit thin on the interaction, you might say. Well, I think we should be able to finish them next turn. And that will grow the Djinn. 2 slick shots. Little spooky. 2 cards still in hand. 1 card in hand. That is 2 scamps, but we have a lot of face down cards that we do not mind throwing in front. Alright, we want to put spells into graveyard if we can to grow our Djinn to win the game, which we will hopefully do with this. I mean, I guess I'll grab this. The Djinn should still be lethal. And I don't know what happened in this game, but GG. Before we hop into the rest of the games, I want to take a brief moment to talk about the sponsor of today's video. Magic the Gathering can feel overwhelming when you first start. There's so many mechanics, strategies, and cards, but it doesn't have to feel that way. The sponsor of today's video is the Sorcerer's Field Guide from Ivory Tower Games. It is a guide to Magic the Gathering designed to help players understand Magic from the ground up. Everything from how to play, deck building, to mastering different strategies. If you're new to Magic, this book will walk you through the fundamentals, explain key mechanics in a way that actually makes sense, and help you to avoid common beginner mistakes. If you're tired of always asking that one guy about the rules at the LGS, or if you're getting a friend or family member into Magic, make your game nights go smoother, and check out the Sorcerer's Field Guide using my link below, which also helps to support the channel. Thanks, and let's hop into the rest of the games. Alright, well, it's nice to see bounce off, because that means we have a bit more interaction than we had previous turn, but we don't get to do the turn 2 Oculus, so a little less good, but should be able to make do. Opponent? I see Anissa Avatar and Jace Sleeves. Oh no. We do have Spell Pierce in the deck. I'm assuming the opponent is probably playing a yeah, I guess we put Djinn in the graveyard. I'm assuming the opponent's playing the Omniscience deck because I feel like it's more popular at this point, just because it is according to the stats, it is the highest win rate. Nope. Okay, it's Esper stuff. So this, I actually don't know how this matchup goes. Temporary lockdown seems pretty good. Well, this is a sorcery, so what do we want to do? Don't think it matters that much. I'm just gonna Picklock Prankster. I'm trying to decide whether it's better to chart a course or free the Fae. Free the Fae mills 4 cards and you can return an instant sorcery or fairy card from among the milled cards to your hand, but chart a course, draw 2, and then discard a card unless you attack. So Picklock Prankster goes further. So it's also instant speed. We'll just do it instead. Do it on the opponent's turn here. probably should have bounced Scavenger, or like, we have temporary lockdown. I need to remember that. But 5 damage does hurt a smidge. Opponent has 2 mana open, so they could be playing counter spells. I'm surprised they managed to make the Verge mana base work. I feel like my experience for the Verges is they're good for the slower decks, but can be really frustrating. Well, they do have 2 mana open for a this town ain't big enough, so maybe that's what they're holding up. If that is the case, we can just bounce lockdown and not much happens. We will bounce a token. Interesting. Okay, so they get a Storm Chaser's talent so that they can potentially loop it, maybe. Nurturing Pixie to return the Storm Chaser's talent, and the board will be flooded once more. We do have the 2 mana exile spell, I forget what it's called. Soul Partition, so we could Soul Partition our own temporary lockdown and then recast it at a later date. So that is an option that we have. We could get back Djinn. Wow. We have Djinn Tron in our graveyard. That's actually kind of impressive. I don't want to cast Helping Hand to get back to Djinn and then get a bunch of mana discounts. I could cast a Recommission to get back another Djinn. That'd give me a blocker. And then Moment of Truth or Chart of Course. Moment of Truth goes deeper, and we can hold up a bounce spell if it is necessary. This bounce off can also return a creature of our own control to our hand. It's one of the interesting trade-offs between, bounce off / unsummon. Is it can also target. Oh. All right, we are 2-0. All right, opponent goes first. This hand seems alright. Founding of the third path is quite nice. This card has done so much in standard. I feel like it reads very interestingly, and I don't know if my initial impression would have been this card would have done this much, but getting sidetracked. I was gonna say, I'm kind of shocked at how much our opponents have been kind of just scooping. I mean, we did put some big things onto the battlefield. Rockface Village on the Heartfire Hero. We gotta move it because we're gonna heal over it and die soon. Right, that is an answer. Oh, double pain lands into mono red does not leave you with a good feeling, I will say. I know this is probably the least amount of value, but I just want to slow down their hero here if I can. And then finding the third path, we can mill ourselves. And maybe we will find an answer to all these small creatures. Instead, the game will show us what pain is by making us mill our temporary lockdown. We did get an Oculus, but we also milled a Soul Partition, which I guess is good to have in the graveyard. And I will recommission that Oculus for another 1 life. But now we get some chump blockers, so we're not quite as open as we used to be. But the triple pain land into mono red feels like an uphill battle, but we beat mono red. I really would have assumed this deck would have had a bit of a more difficult matchup into mono red, but honestly, I've never been that big of a believer in Oculus. but sometimes it does just sit there and win games, so props to it. I don't want to trade the Oculus. They're gonna rage it, and it's gonna get trampled. We go down to 5, but we will be able to exile the Heartfire hero. Hopefully they don't have Fling. Surely they don't have Fling. Or a Steel Cutter. Ooh. I can take just a smidge less pain, maybe. Alright, we slow that down again. I gotta start moving their life total, don't I? I think I may have put myself in a position to die, though, at the same time. Because if they can double spell and then hasten the wait, the Heartfire hero gets attacked. Forgot about that. They can't necessarily double spell that easily. 4 life. I can run out the hero to trigger the Steel Cutter still. Rage. Nope. Burst Lightning. That monk has trample. Mouse. We're just dead. Yep. They got 2 hasty attackers in, and Mono Red does find a way. Oh, we were so close to getting back into that game, but the pain lands. 2 and 1. Alright, this is a unique hand. Triple Abhorrent Oculus. Surely this cannot go wrong. This hand is actually so bad. I don't know why I kept it. We need a way to draw discard. Talent is concerning, but we have Temporary Lockdown and we have Spell Pierce and Soul Partition, so if the opponent goes for the Steel Cutter, we can cut it down. And Soul Partition their token. It's not particularly efficient, or it's feels a little goofy, but wait for them to rage. No rage. Well, what could they play post combat that we would want a Soul Partition, or do we just want to take the 2? Preserve my life total. Could have played around the fact that I have Temporary Lockdown, though. Alright, Moment of Truth. We will cast that. Well, if we can find a land in the top 3, we could Spell Pierce. Hold up Spell Pierce still. Opponent could have Spell Pierce. I gotta go for it, though. I think we go. You want to try and hit our land drop here? Alright, Seachrome Coast saves us. Put 1 into your graveyard. I'm not sure if this counts. Put Djinn in the graveyard. Then Picklock Prankster. Keep it in the library. Found an untapped land. We are saved. Or saved. Swift Spear. Sleight of Hand. No Steel Cutter yet. Huh. That's a good thing. Alright, I think I will Spell Pierce the Rage. It is just so much damage. I think it's worth it. Flood Farm Verge. Is it greedy for me to hold on to Temporary Lockdown here? You need to get 6 cards into our graveyard. I just don't trust that they're not gonna play out a steel cutter here, and then I'm gonna want to have that locked down. So I think it was perhaps the right move, but it's gonna be painful regardless. It does leave us with a very awkward turn where we just cast temporary lockdown, and that's it. Drawing another land is good because that means it should be very live to whatever we draw. Like, we could draw pretty much anything to set us up. Card of course, that does work. You discard an Oculus. And could play Djinn. Oculus is better though. Makes me a little sad to say goodbye to all of these sweet cards, but okay, we will not get rid of every card then. That is 7 cards. Counting again proves to be my kryptonite. 5 damage. Do you have it, opponent? Or do you have bounce? I guess you could be playing quite a few different bounce things. I think we are okay with that because, well, we got our Oculus and we can recast the temporary lockdown. We're at 12 life, so the opponent has to push through quite a bit of damage. They do get probably like 4 hasty Prowess creatures, so not necessarily open. Block the Swift Spear, I guess. Rage. Alright, well that is good news and bad news. Good news is the opponent has 1 card and this temporary lockdown should be crippling. Bad news, I'm scared for my life. Don't need Oculus. Could attack in with the fish, but it's just gonna get blocked. And goodbye board. Bounce off to protect us for a turn, and then we can run out the Djinn. Alright, here comes Djinn. Moment of truth. Founding of the 3rd path. Put the Wastes into the graveyard because I don't really want to draw the Pain land at this point. And as much as I want to cast the Founding of the third path to mill some cards to set up an Oculus here, I will not, because I think I will like having this bounce off at my disposal. Here we go. Don't get a discount on this Moment of Truth. We use the first Saga chapter, but should be good regardless. Put one of these cards into your hand. Well, that seems pretty good. Put one of these cards in your graveyard. Seachrome Coast, tap land. The other one's a tap land with upside. I'll cast Recommission to make our Djinn bigger, and then we can run out Azorius Oculus. The Oculus. The spooky eye. Spell Pierce. I will pay that. Alright, the eye is down. I will swing in now, because we have a blocker that should make another blocker, and we have bounce off, so opponent would have to have quite the series of draws to kind of put us. I feel like you might have wanted to hold that, but I guess you could win from a good top deck here. Another Burst Lightning or a Lightning Strike kills us, but alas, we take them down. 3-1. Alright, well, do we go for it again? I see Oculus, I see Helping Hand, we're going second. I could just not do anything turn 1, discard the Oculus, and then reanimate it turn 2. We put ourselves behind a land, but turn 2 Oculus. See what the opponent has. It's red. I think it's worth it in that case. I will perform the magic trick of doing nothing, opponent. What are you gonna do about it? Probably quite a bit of damage. Now the question is, do I want to hold off and cast Bounce Off next turn? Or cast Bounce Off this turn and then Helping Hand, or Recommission the next turn so that we actually have a blocker. Because Helping Hand, well, Helping Hand gives us the Oculus and then we get the Manifest trigger. The Manifest we can block with, so still think it's worth going for the Oculus here. Because we get that Manifest token. Even if they trample over it, it does soak some of the damage. And we could block the Hired Claw, and that would force them to pump it in response, and so that's not going to be a trigger towards their Emberheart Challenger's Valiant trigger. So though admittedly I don't think that would matter that much because they have only, well, they have 3 mana at their disposal, so maybe they could find something off the top of their library with the Challenger that would make it worth. Alright, we have Djinn in the graveyard, so we could recommission that. Or we could hold up Bounce Off, because it's not looking great. Opponent, you have the Monstrous Rage, so it is turn 3, taking a shellacking here. 1 more red. Alright. We can hold up Bounce Off and Spell Pierce. Sounds kind of nice. And then next turn we can recommission. Do that. Down to 15. Manifest red. Little decision here for ourselves. The Archive or the Seachrome Coast. It doesn't actually matter. Because one's going in the grave, one's on the battlefield, which is the second grave. Because that's probably where it's going to be heading when we go to block. But time will tell. Okay. Do we want to save our deer? Nah. Nope. Don't care. We are on a clock. Oh. That's nasty, opponent. That is nasty. Thankfully, I have Soul Pierce. So. Alright, well, we don't get that much value out of recommissioning here, but it is... Actually, we do. It gets 5 toughness, which is pretty good. We're on a clock, because the Hired Claw, regardless of whether we block it or not, is going to take away at our life total, so we just need to close the game next turn, which currently set up to do. Knock on wood. Opponent committed to the mono red with the Dragon Eye basic. The Bloomburrow red deck. It is a menace. Bloomburrow Mice and Bloomburrow Lizard. 1 mana. You have 1 mana. 1 shot. 1 opportunity. Actually, they probably have multiple shots if they have a Monstrous Rage. This Emberheart Challenger is going to get pretty big. Well, I guess we win. We are 4-1. Okay. This hand seems alright. We have Picklock Prankster, which we can then recommission whatever big creature we mill. So we will keep it and see what happens. Play the coast for turn 1, so we have Spell Pierce for any shenanigans. What is that? Oh, it's Sorin. Interesting. Alright, we will play a land. And Picklock Prankster at instant speed. Do I Spell Pierce this, or do I Spell Pierce the reanimation? Huh. I feel like we Spell Pierce the reanimation. We gotta advance our own game plan here a little bit. Oculus in the graveyard. And a helping hand in hand. Oh, pretty good. Should be very easy to hold up Spell Pierce in these conditions. Assuming the opponent is playing the Omniscience Reanimator deck. They could not be at the same time, so... Then you know what they say about assuming. It makes a fool out of you. Alright, grow the Djinn. That's in our graveyard. By tossing more spells into our graveyard. Stock up. Is this the stock up that finds the answers to the board? No. You can have it, opponent. We're friendly like that. This could be me punting the game or me holding this counterspell for the right moment. We will find out very shortly. Alright, there's the Omniscience in the graveyard. They could have a Spell Pierce to our Spell Pierce, so we probably want to hold up enough mana to make that happen, but... that means helping hand back the Djinn. And then that's pretty much all we have the mana to do if we want to be able to pay for a Spell Pierce, assuming that's what the opponent's tricky plan might be. Soul Partition is handy, but it is not in my hand. So, Spell Pierce, please take us home. Take us home. We have the mana to pay for an opponent's Spell Pierce. We can counter a reanimation spell on the Omniscience, or we can counter a sweeper spell if that is the opponent's prerogative. And this was not part of the this was not the included in the training. What the heck did the opponent just do? They did nothing. That's not allowed. I will Picklock Prankster some more cards in my graveyard, so hopefully we can just smash home with Djinn. I have to submit a card, do I? That is unfortunate. Oh. Alright. Archive is not going to help us. That's lethal on board. As far as the dispersal, it could pay for the Spell Pierce, so I think we're just going to have to let it go. Let it go. That does not make me feel good at all. Let me tell you, I should have cast the Moment in Truth, maybe, but just so we could get it in at a discount, but alright, the Spell Pierce is really holding on for dear life, because the opponent could have a negate at this point. We have 3 mana to pay for an opponent's Spell Pierce, but if they have a negate or another counterspell, yeah, it's not looking good. They all have 6 mana, so they'll have 4 mana for the reanimation spell and 2 for another card. This Spell Pierce I wish was in my hand. Lethal on board. Oh gosh. Blast Zone, that's not going to do it. Buela's Awakening, Spell Pierce. And you have the mana to pay for it. I am stupid. So stupid. Oh. Ah. Just, it's so hard to finish fast enough for some of these combo decks, and I think that means game. I have a hard time believing the opponent will find nothing but lands, but that's a whiff. Starting a land is not a good sign. Moment of truth. And that's game. No. Oh no. Alright, we are 4-2. Man, I wonder if that game would have gone differently if I just spell pierced the first stock up. I don't know. This hand is a bit of a risky keep. Bounce off, the opponent has Dimir, so they're probably playing a Dimir control deck. Or Dimir, the Dimir combo deck, so. Let's chart our course. That course leads us to a one-way ticket to Oculusville. Stock up. I'm surprised these decks aren't playing, the Oculus decks aren't playing stock up, but I don't think it's in this list, right? Nope. Any of the other decks playing stock up? No. Nope. Doesn't appear that any of the Oculus decks are playing stock up. Oh. Recommission. We already have one in hand, and we have a helping hand in hand. So we'll put an Oculus down. 3 mana open. We have a Spell Pierce. Picklock Prankster down. Opponent digged through quite a few cards with that stock up, so I'm expecting some kind of response or hell from our opponent, but opponent's not going to tell me anything. I thought they were going to expose kind of what their game plan was. But maybe they're just waiting until we go to combat to try and remove our good friend, the Eye. That shall go in the graveyard. Okay. Could be Dimir Reanimator, or it could not be. Speaking of which, I guess that's actually a good card to play in Dimir Reanimator. Draw 3, discard 3. It's a big creature. Huh. New idea has been found. Don't tell anyone. I get dibs. Alright, yeah, we'll just hold. I guess I'll put the Prankster down, bounce off into the graveyard. We grow any Djinn that we do get. Caustic Exhale. Okay. Scavenger Region. So it is Dimir, like dragon control. Maybe. Maybe, maybe not. It is now a 2/2. And you'll wrath the board with your region. Okay. Grab the moment of truth. I think it's probably better to go for the... I think we want untapped lands at this point. Probably better to go with the Picklock Prankster there, but I'm not sure. I have enough cards to cast an Oculus and then reanimate an Oculus. Is this going to lead to me getting completely blown out? We will find out. I guess I could just free the Fae to try and find Spell Pierce. Yeah, that did not work. How many Oculus are in the graveyard? We only have one creature in the graveyard, or one creature worth reanimating in the graveyard. That's awkward. Okay. I was trying to avoid hard casting our Oculus here. Ooh. Now that is a free Oculus if we can turn it face up. And that could be 5 damage in the air. Or the opponent could just Dragon Wrath us again, which would be kind of funny. Swing. I have a few regrets. Well, I failed to realize when I was supposed to do that, so... Opponent has a counter spell. You can get that back with Recommission, and then we can 3 mana turn it up. It still feels kind of expensive. 3 cards in hand, so we are playing with a bigger grip than our opponent here, which is good. Shoot. Okay, well, why'd you say anything? Opponent has no cards in their hand. It's not going to be a problem. Opponent proceeds to play Jace, draw 3, play Graveyard Hate. I'm not heartbroken at all. Nope. Alright, Jace, that was a cool trick you did. I'm gonna need you to stop very dearly. I have 26 cards in my library, and getting milled does not... It's not on my to-do list, to be honest. Am I gonna lose because I failed to flip up that Oculus? I hate it here. I suddenly don't feel like playing standard anymore. This is like a nuke, right? Yep. Exile each opponent's graveyard. Bloody hell. That's no fun. Wait, what is this card? This is sorcery, right? My mic is right in front of it, which is kind of funny. Well, it doesn't really matter what I exile, but I'll exile lands out of principle, just in case the opponent forgets that they have Graveyard Hate sitting on the board. And I would appreciate it if you would stop blowing my crap up. Thank you, opponent. Sincerely, McFluffy. I mean, I could force them to nuke the graveyard now. To recommission. That's probably a good idea. Wait, I meant to grab the freaking... Whatever, doesn't really matter. They're gonna activate the Soul Guide Lantern. Oh, I have to click Resolve. That's fine, because we were never going to get them back anyways. But now we can start growing our graveyard to make our Djinn relevant again. That's at least the idea. The opponent might just cast the same card that they've played. You know what? I'm not having fun. This actually blows so much. This is so freaking annoying. You can chump block this Regent, with the Picklock Prankster and then exile that with Soul Partition and then recast it to mill cards to try and grow things, I think is the line I'm going to go for. Yes, I would like to get it back so that we can cast it. Opponent could kill it out of fear. That is fear, opponent. Stay afraid, stay very afraid. I think we are straight up out of gas in our deck though, unfortunately, so we're about to take 10 on the crackback because the opponent has a Restless Reef that they can just activate. Speed up our mill, or they could just top deck Jace and nuke the remainder of our library. And that would also, I think. I'm surprised these decks don't, or like these Oculus decks don't play more counter spells. Because it's not, the deck, it could get out to kind of explosive starts, but at the same time, it can get out to slow starts. Or not, it's not fast enough to match these control decks. 7 in our graveyard. That was kind of you, opponent. We'll get the Djinn back. And then probably proceed to blow up the entire graveyard. It's not looking good. How many cards left? 18. 12 Pierce can go to the graveyard. That should grow the Djinn a smidge. Please no. Okay. Good signs. Opponent holds back their region, and I draw a Seachrome Coast. Yippee. If I swing in with everything, they just block with a Restless Reef and the river region, and we cry. So pass. Just pass. Please, no Djinn. Or not Djinn. What was that card called? Jace. It's another J word. Alright. Chart a course. You'll be charting said course. Okay. Discard a card. Does that flash? No, it does not. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. He's beginning to believe. We just need to go down to less cards in library. Well, lethal is lethal is lethal is lethal. Everyone, take a deep breath. We made it. Crap. Forgot about that part. We did not make it. Can I just have... They said good game. Okay, well, they didn't have a response. Okay, thank goodness. GG. We are 5-2. Alright. This hand, we do have the stupid plan if we want to do it, but it feels a lot worse when you can't helping hand turn 1. But I could just not do anything turn 1 and discard the Oculus. We will do it depending on what the opponent's playing. It looks like the opponent's not playing anything super aggressive because they're not playing red. So I'm gonna go for it. And it'll be funny when they immediately kill it. Slasher? Sure. All yours, bud. I get one trigger. One trigger. and down it goes. We still get the Manifest Dead trigger, so we will have a blocker for the Slasher, depending on if we actually want to block, but we'll block. We can cast Founding the Third Path to mill some of our cards and then copy up the Recommission the following turn, so there is a plan. There's a game plan, and I will attempt to follow it, and we will see how much removal the opponent is stocking. Well, that could get rid of the Soul Partition, which I would suspect it is going to, but maybe they see the line with the Founding. Or maybe they want to get rid of Djinn. Okay, they see the line with the Founding. How dare you, opponent? Alright. Not enough cards in graveyard yet. I think it's the right move. And, of course, it always is the right move. Because we somehow luck into Helping Hand, and that'll put an Oculus back onto the battlefield. Read it and weep, opponent. That's all I can say. The opponent probably has another bajillion removal spells, so this is going to go on for a while, perhaps. Five mana, that is Ritual Chamber. Nope, that is Bloodletter of Aquazot's combo territory. Do they have the cut down? Do we just die? No, we do not. Ooh. Because we could have just died to Bloodletter of Aquazot's plus, what's his name? That kind of sucks. Or well, like this situation is it's not very pretty. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have to exile a Djinn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I can exile like a bounce off maybe, or maybe the Helping Hand because we already have the Recommission. I wanna get another eye down. I think. Oops. Get rid of one card. What are we getting rid of? I want the bounce off for the situational removal potentially. I do put myself liable to this Slasher somehow making its way through with a Bloodletter of Aquazot, but by not holding up interaction. But I kind of want to progress the board because I think we need to press our advantage. I have to say, I'm kind of baffled that the best thing that we've done with this thinking eye is just discard it from our opener by not doing anything turn 1. That actually has been like a running play, and the opponent does not have an answer for that much value, and GG. Alright, it is do or die. We are 6-2. Okay, it looks like it took about 50 seconds there to find our opponent here, but this is the last match. Whether we win or lose. You go first. This hand is meh. Temporary Lockdown could be useful into an aggressive deck, but we do go first, so there is that, which is nice. The deck doesn't play a ton of draw discard, I feel like, so getting these cards out of our hand is going to be a little bit challenging, but hopefully we can make it happen. Red. Okay, so we have the temporary lockdown, but I feel like the games that we won against red, or when we won against red, it was because we got Oculus down like turn 2. So this is a little concerning. But we are going first. Slickshot Show Off does not instill much confidence either because need some instant speed interaction if we want to make that happen. Alright, well. Alright, we will play the Archive. Bounce Off is instant speed interaction, but it feels a little too late. A little too late. Does that make sense? I think it does. But Prankster can block the Slickshot Shove, which is presumably going to get quite swole. Scratch that. It is a little too high in the air and got caught by a stray lightning bolt. Or strike, rather. Oh. Temporary lockdown? It is, I think. Djinn can come down at some point just to be a nice rear with 4 toughness. Thanks, opponent. I do play the temporary lockdown. Wait, what? Oh, we have exactly 6 cards. Huh. Okay. I do not mind sending all of these to the Shadow Realm, also known as Exile, and just passing it back. That's a 5/5. Put it there. Not ideal. Kind of would like to be. Well, actually, that's not too bad. Doesn't make too much of a difference, but kinda wouldn't mind milling over a higher value card. That makes sense. Whatever happens, that challenger is dying, opponent. It is gone. What does this Valiant trigger reveal? It is a mountain. So bye-bye monsters. That is 3 power. Another Monstrous Ridge. Congrats. You got there. But mouse is down. Just took a giant floating eye. That's all. I think it's still better to run out the Founding of the Third Path for the Moment of Truth here. Put one of these cards into your hand. We already have an eye in our graveyard, right? So I think we're fine to put one into our hand. Painland into the graveyard. Non-Painland into the library. We gotta mill something good with this Founding of the Third Path, I think. So we can cast something good from our graveyard. Screaming Nemesis is a big problem. That is a problem. Ooh. Oh, so good. That is very, very good. I think we have a lot of permanents that I could actually get rid of with this Oculus, and that would put us in a good spot as well. Oculus gets rid of land, trying to dodge the instant sorceries so that we keep our buddy in the air as big as possible. We want another Djinn potentially lying in the wings. Nah. Actually, yeah. I don't know. You're asking the wrong guy. Alright, Djinn is getting bigger. We have a chump blocker and we have a soul partition. Opponent has 3 spells in hand. We have 8 life. Screaming Nemesis is going to cost 5 to recast, so they could get back. Ew, brother, ew. That is my response. Do it again, please. And I do have no option but to... Alright. Is there a way we get lethal? We have... It would have to involve, like, Moment of the Truth, or Moment of Truth. Could exile Soul Partition, and then get rid of their other Screaming Nemesis, and that would put us in, like, a safer spot. We have... How many spells that would have to be? We'd have to get 5 instant or sorceries into our graveyard. This seems kind of unlikely, but our hand, or like a... I'm gonna go for the card advantage here. Oh wait, seems way more possible when you have a Haughty Djinn. I forgot about that part. But also, a helping hand is not too bad. Another big Djinn. Huh. We get an additional blocker from the Azorius Oculus on their turn. It is so close. It is so close. I mean... This got me a little bit anxious. What do you have, opponent? Just tell me the bad news, doctor. That's not good news. That is good news. But that's also bad news. That's exactly 5 damage. Don't count. We're supposed to count. Actually, no, I can't count. I can't count. Opponent, we are in the safe. I thought they had enough damage, but nope, they do not. And that should finish off the game at 2 life against mono red to clutch it out. Opponent, I don't know if it would have mattered, but good game. That was close. Okay, we hit the fabled 7 wins. Let's check out our spoils from our victory here. 3 packs, 500 gems. What did we get? Drum roll. We got Jeskai Revelation. Ooh, this is actually a really nice card to pull, because there is a Jeskai control deck that is playing this card, I believe. And it has a positive win rate, playing a new 7-mana mythic, which seems kind of baffling. So definitely want to check that out at some point. Notice the Fangkeeper doesn't really seem suited to standard. It's a bit of a theft legendary creature, so seems a bit of a commander card. And then Waken the Honored Dead. This card, I was contemplating trying out making a reanimator deck that uses it in it, because you can remove stuff and then mill things, but I gotta figure out what you play Awaken the Honored Dead in. Probably maybe a Simic Beans deck. That would make sense. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you want to see me play next in a standard event here. And if you enjoyed this video, there's a playlist to more standard events in the description. It probably should also be on the screen right about now. And consider checking out previous video, which should also be right about on the screen now, where we played United Battlefront with the Simulacrum Synthesizer card, and it felt amazing. The deck might have a bit of a weakness in the sense that you're playing a bunch of permanents to make United Battlefront work, but if you like Simulacrum Synthesizer, oh boy, is that card an addition to the deck. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. Have a nice morning, evening, night, afternoon, wherever and whenever you're watching. Take care of yourself. Ciao.